congratulations, mate. A big milestone. Did you think you'd get there?
Early days, definitely not. It was a bit of a struggle, but thanks to Brett Ratton and Dennis Pagan for believing in me, we got there in the end, so I can't wait to run out on Monday night.
Did you have to sort of reinvent yourself just a little bit?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I come into the side as a wingman, went forward, was a tagger, and then I sort of found the niche back in at the half-back flank. So I love being back down there, and it's good that we're winning a few games this year, and hopefully we can go on.
Was it hard at times? I mean, fans are notoriously fickle with first-round draft picks. They always sort of want the best straight off the bat. Did you sort of struggle to find your feet for a while?
Early days, yeah. You let it get to you a little bit, but you can't listen to them because you're just going to get yourself down. So once I sort of learnt that lesson, you just had to worry about what I had to do, and it took a little while, but we got there in the end.
Yeah, so you've made a pretty strong turnaround in the last couple of years.
Yeah, definitely. It sort of helped with the boys playing a lot better footy. Obviously, early days we were struggling along, but we've got a good bunch of blokes down there now, and we're starting to show that.
I think was it right you came second in the BF last year?
Yep.
Do you feel a bit occasionally overlooked when people bracket Carlton's young group? Your name isn't one that often is bracketed with it. It's always the midfielders that are also all included. Do you feel a bit left out at times?
Not really. I'd rather go under the radar that way. I mean, obviously Murphy, Gibbs, Judd, these guys are amazing players, and I don't see myself as up with those guys. I'm a different player to them, and I'm happy for them to take the brunt of that attention.
Was there a particular turning point in your career so far? Obviously second in the best and fairest last year. Was there something that sort of sparked it that you felt, alright, this is where I belong as a halfback player?
Yeah, the game I played against Stephen Johnson, round 19, against Geelong in 2009. He was a bit injured, I think, coming into the game, but yeah, that's where I sort of found that I had a lot of confidence back there and could play the game back there. So Rat sort of told the guys to get the ball in my hands whenever they could, and that gave me a lot of confidence, and I went from there.
How have you seen your form so far this season?
A bit slow to start. It's helped that with Digan and Laidler and Yaron coming back down. That's taken a little bit of attention off me, which has helped. But as a back six, we're playing really well together, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Was the corresponding game last year? Yeah, one of your statistically, it was one of your better games. Do you look back on that as one of the best you had?
Statistically, yes. It was just good to get a win last time. We obviously hadn't beaten St Kilda for a long time, and to beat them by I think 10 goals, it was a great effort. And as I said before, it's at the end of the day, if we get the 4 points, it's all that matters.
You mentioned it a bit before, but do you kind of reflect a bit on how much things have changed since game one for you at the club?
Yeah, a little bit. I try not to dwell too much on the bad stuff, but I look back a lot to the defining moments and that sort of stuff, and go back and rehash on the things that worked, and keep trying to take one more step at a time.
That's just preached consistency, and you guys playing together down back is a key part of your development. But you mentioned those three guys, you've just added them in this year, but it's really hasn't seemed like you've missed a beat. How hard has it been to bring those guys in, or how hard to work at it?
Yeah, well, Jeremy Laidler's obviously come from Geelong, and he stepped straight in. The same with Nick Digan. He played a lot of defence last year, and one of Rat's little masterminds is getting Yaron back, and he's slotted straight in and played some amazing footy so far. So as a team with Michael Jamieson playing some really good footy too, it's starting to look pretty good.
Did you get the sense yourselves that you were perhaps a little predictable behind ball? It was a matter of sort of getting it in the likes of your hands as far as running out and creating, and you needed someone such as Yaron and one or two others to be sharing the ball to be those distributors.
Yeah, well, last year obviously Gibbsy was playing a fair bit down back, and I think Rats and the rest of the guys really wanted to get him back in the midfield, and we sort of didn't really have another running defender, and Yaz has just fitted that mould perfectly now. So obviously allowed Gibbsy go forward into the midfield, and obviously change forward as well, and Yaz is playing some good footy.
In recent years as well, you've had some big wins as far as big oppositions and big crowds there against the Collins and Essendon and that sort of thing over time. Is it more significant that you've been able to get over someone such as Sydney last week that you hadn't beaten in a decade? You hadn't beaten St Kilda until last year, but they're the more important ones as far as trending and development.
Yeah, definitely. Over the last couple of years, and that's something Rats has been pretty strong on. We hadn't been very successful on the road, and a couple of years ago I think we won 4 out of 5 games on the road. Against St Kilda we hadn't beaten them a long time, and against Sydney we hadn't beaten them up there in 18 years. and they're the good victories. We come in after the game and we're really wrapped, but obviously our focus is now on St Kilda and trying to go 2-0 up on them for the last couple of years.
And just last year's victory sort of changed the mindset of approaching them this year. Last year was like, let's just get over a hurdle, having not been able to do it. Now you're coming on equal terms.
Yeah, exactly. And with the younger boys, there's belief there. Obviously, last year we beat them quite convincingly. We know they're going to come out and play really well and play strongly. They haven't had the best start to the year, but yeah, we'll definitely get some confidence off that win last year. Yeah, well, every week you expect the team to come out firing. It doesn't matter whether something's going on behind the scenes or whether they've had a good win. We know they're going to come out hard. They're a good team. They've shown that over the last 4 or 5 years, so we don't expect anything less than 100% from them.
Debuted against the Saints all those years ago. What were your recollections of that day?
We got pumped. I spent about half an hour on the ground, didn't get much game time and had a couple of possessions, so I put that one away and forgot about that one. But yeah, it's a bit uncanny that playing the 100th against them as well, so hopefully we can get across the line.
What's the confidence like amongst the group after such a good start to the season?
Yeah, it's high. We're finding that we're training really well on the track, which is going into games, and with all the young boys and sort of the young side, we're just getting more confidence week in, week out.
And what do you think about Monday night footy?
Yeah, I don't mind. I enjoy it. Anytime you get to play in front of the whole audience in Australia, everyone's going to be watching. There's no other games on, so it's perfect.
Has there been anything different this week with the larger than usual gap of Friday and Monday?
We stayed up in Sydney for an extra couple of days just as a team, just to relax, have a bit of a break, and then we come back to the club on Monday and sort of been training pretty hard since then, so ready to go.
As a group, do you look at Chris Judd's effort last week against Sydney and know that that's where you have to take your standard to now?
Yeah, for sure.
To be competitive consistently.
And that's why he's a skipper. He does that week in, week out. He does it with 2 blokes hanging off him, and just the way he got so much contested footy, it's inspiring for the rest of the boys around.
Lockie Henderson out of the side this morning, is there any particular reason for that?
To be honest with you, I didn't know until just before, but our score gets finalised on Sunday, so until that time I'm not too sure where they're going to go with it.